He's, of course, was a longtime fixture at the University of Alabama as a quarterback from 2005 to 2008 and played 5 seasons in the National Football League. And before that, was a two-time state champion for Russ Probst and the Hoover Bucks. And that is, of course, John Parker Wilson. John Parker, I know you've spoken with us in Huntsville a couple years ago. It's been a while, though. Welcome back into the game in Tuscaloosa, and it's an honor to speak with you. How are you this afternoon, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. Good to talk to you guys.
Absolutely. And I guess first I want to ask you, he went 7 out of 10 for 116 yards last night against Carolina for the Buffalo Bills. But A.J. McCarron has a chance now, and you're a part of that elite fraternity at Alabama that was the quarterback for the Crimson Tide, to maybe break through and become a starter, full-time starter for the first time in a long time for the University of Alabama. Talk about the opportunity A.J. has, and of course you were able to carve out a career as a backup in the National Football League, but how significant would it be to have A.J. McCarron taking snaps as a starter in the NFL?
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty amazing, and I think he's got a really good chance at where he's at. He's done amazing to get himself to this position, and I think that, he's kind of bought his time and had some good playoffs games and everything, so I love AJ's skill set and what he can do and what he can bring to the game, and I know he's got some pretty good competition there up in Buffalo. But it's time for him to go out there and to get his own team, because I think he definitely has the skills to do that.
He certainly does. And then, regardless, I know they spent a first-round draft choice on Josh Allen, so certainly they see the future in him. But you know better than anyone, it's all about opportunity in the National Football League. And if he can put together a full season on tape, even if this opportunity in Buffalo isn't long-term, he could certainly earn a chance at with another organization.
Yeah, and there's no question about it. And there's obviously a lot of teams that are interested in him. They showed that last year, and he landed in Buffalo. So, and that's not saying that he's not the starter and runs away with the job for the entire year. There's a lot of variables between now, the start of the season, and when you get in the season. Injuries and everything else plays a huge part in it. And he's been in the league long enough where he knows all that now. So he's got a great agent. I know his agent really well. They'll put him in a good situation no matter what, because he's a valuable commodity right now. Backups or the starting quarterback in the league is a tough spot. It's different now with the backup rules. Usually there are only 2 quarterbacks on the roster, and the third guy's a practice squad guy. So he's in a great situation. And at the end of the day, you go out there, play ball, throw some touchdowns, you're going to put yourself in a good spot.
And speaking of good spots, Alabama's in an enviable position with their quarterback room right now. You were a big part of that. Certainly, the scrimmages the next couple of weekends are going to be huge. But now that we've seen from Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts in fall camp, I wanted to get your comments first of all on what we heard from Jalen Hurts, which was really, because to me, up until that, those 6 minutes or so on this past Saturday, he had been the model teammate and had handled himself with as much class as anyone we'd ever seen at the University of Alabama. So I think that's why it was so surprising that he took the stance he did. But what was your take on what you heard from Jalen Hurts? And then do you think, what kind of effect on this quarterback race do you see it having?
I really don't see it having any effect at all. I don't think just because Jalen said that doesn't make him a model teammate. I think Coach Saban put it really well in saying, all of our guys have opinions, and they're perfectly allowed to express those opinions. And look, we're in training camp right now, and everybody's trying to go out and earn a starting job. Keep a starting job. It doesn't matter if you're the quarterback. It doesn't matter if you're a long snapper. It doesn't matter if you're the starting linebacker. Everybody's going to go earn or keep their job. And the good thing about it is we've got a lot of good players throughout the whole ball field. So I know we'd love to talk about quarterback and signal that out, but this is taking place. But you want those guys that are wanting to compete, and that's what he's showing, is going out there and trying to win a job. Look, Jalen's won 26 games as a starter. That's a lot of football games. He's a really good quarterback, and I don't think we have a quarterback problem or quarterback controversy. I think we're in a great position with our quarterbacks right now.
how Nick Saban dealt with you when he took over the program, because certainly when he took over, there was nobody that had a job that was guaranteed. How did he treat the quarterback room when you had to compete to keep your job when he took over in 2007?
He was always honest and upfront, and I don't think he's ever promised anybody a job. Or I know that's been very, talked about while he's recruiting, but I think extreme transparency is something that he gives everybody. Doesn't matter what position you're playing. The guy who is the best player for Coach Saban is going to play no matter what. Doesn't matter if you're a walk-on. Doesn't matter if you're a fifth-year senior. Doesn't matter if you're a true freshman. He's shown throughout his entire career that he's going to put the best guy on the field. And as a player, that's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for is if you go out there and play well and compete, then you're going to have a chance to play on Saturdays.
And then with the quarterback position itself, it's been it's different from the other positions on the football team because you have to have it's usually where you want to have rhythm offensively and you want to usually play one guy. Now, if you're winning a game handily, you'll see a second quarterback play. But I know you played the position. Do you think with two guys as good as these two, because of course Jalen has proven himself over 2 seasons of starting, and we've seen such brilliance in in small windows out of Tua Tagovailoa. Is it possible to play two quarterbacks in your mind?
I do. I do think it's possible. The game's different today than it was even when I played. Things have changed and evolved quickly. Now there's not even a lot of huddles. The guys get the most of plays from the sideline. So when I was playing, I think it was important to have the quarterback voice in the huddle where we're talking to the players, we're calling the plays and making eye contact and everything. It's just different today, and I think it's been successful in the past. We've seen, Steve Spurrier kind of made it famous with having two quarterbacks. You got two really good guys that can play, and I think that's the story is we've got two capable quarterbacks. Maybe see the both of them against Louisville. Sure, I think we can both see them, but we still got a lot of camp left, so there's a lot of questions still to be answered.
And do you think that most of those will be answered, not just with the quarterbacks, but as you know, the secondary is being completely rebuilt. The defense overall, a lot of turnover, really a completely different staff now. Tosh Lupoy's role different as the signal caller and defensive coordinator. And then again, they're having to replace 8 to 9 starters. In these next 2 weeks, how important are these two scrimmages going to be to decide these jobs?
Huge. The scrimmages are a big part of it, but there are a lot of things that, there's a lot of practices. It's a whole month of training camp. And, I think we've seen a lot of times that these position battles go well into the season. And, sometimes it's the second or third game before you find a rotation that you really like. But that's all part of the process right now, and that's training camp. That's what makes it so fun because if you're on the team, you got a chance to play, and you just got to go out there and earn it.
And John Parker, I haven't had a chance to speak with you, and since you were named the replacement for Phil Savage, but when did you start becoming interested in maybe taking your career into doing some broadcasting? Because you had success on every level, at the highest level of high school football in Alabama for the preeminent program in the state. And then you had success at Alabama and then played a few seasons in the NFL. Obviously, you've done well in the private sector, but when did you start kind of getting that itch to maybe try broadcasting?
It's something that I've done. I've been a part of local radio shows throughout the state, calling in. So when this opportunity presented itself, and for me, for a chance to stay around the program that I love so much and that has done so much for me, when Coach Saban and Greg Byrne, those guys, asked me to do it, it was an honor. So I think the itch is just to be around Alabama football, and this is a huge honor, huge responsibility of going out there and filling some pretty big shoes and being next to a legend in Eli, but just pretty cool to be able to stay around the football team and Coach Saban and everything else. So I'm really looking forward to the season start. Every year is fun for me in the football season. This will be a different deal, but extremely excited for that kickoff against Louisville.
No question. And I got to ask you, where were you when you got the call, and what was the first thing that went through your mind that you were going to fill the shoes of Kenny Stabler and Phil Savage and so many before you? And it's really a job that comes with a lot of responsibility, but usually it's one very few get a chance to have.
Yeah, there's no question. You know, I was just at the house in the evening with my wife and my son, and we were actually just cooked dinner. So I got the call, and a lot of excitement, a lot of nervousness too, because this is a new venture that I'm taking on. So luckily, I had plenty of time to prepare, continuing to prepare to get ready for this, just because it is something new. But really excited about the opportunity.
Yeah, no question. And John Parker, as we're wrapping it up with you, who have you who have you studied and tried to emulate? Because Dave Archer does a great job. We've had him on our shows in Huntsville, and we're going to be a Falcons affiliate on 97.7 The Zone. Dave Archer does a great job doing color with West Durham for the Atlanta Falcons. But and of course, you were a part of that organization for 3 seasons. But who have you kind of tried to pick the brain of to kind of study how to become a great color man and do I know the kind of job you want to?
Yeah, so definitely, you know, going back and listening to the Alabama radios from Kenny and Phil that did a great job. And Dave Archer, funny you say that, was a friend of mine when I was with the Falcons, so still keep in contact with him. He was one of the first persons I called. And then Greg McElroy, who also does color for ESPN and ABC. Obviously, he has a ton of experience and has been doing it since he got done playing in the NFL. So, you know, those guys right there have been a huge wealth of information and, you know, continue to lean on them. But it's pretty cool now. You know, Greg was backing up when I was playing, and we were helping each other. And here we are again, 10 years later, helping each other once again. So pretty neat to be able to continue that relationship, and obviously a different capacity, but still close with all those guys.
Yeah, and I know you're hoping, you're antsy for the opportunity. Phil has got a few now that are replayed over and over again in the annals of Crimson Tide history. But you're going to have a chance to maybe have one of those calls. I know you had some great moments as a player, including the blackout game in 2008, in beating Georgia on the field. But now your voice could be a part of a historic call with Eli Gold. That's got to be thrilling to think about, I would think.
Yeah, there's no question, but it all starts with, you know, the team and the players that Coach Saban has been able to maintain for over a decade now. So just, you know, that's an obviously huge possibility. Let Eli do most of that, and I'll just happy to be a part of it. So need for me to stay a part of the program, to be able to give it this responsibility, and hopefully I do a good job and meet the expectations of the entire Bama Nation.
Well, certainly, and speaking of being a part of something special, we know you work very closely with our lead sponsor here on the game, and that is Tuscaloosa Toyota.
Definitely, you know, have a great relationship with those guys at Tuscaloosa Toyota, with Scott Peoples and his staff. I know they work hard. They do a lot to support the community, the university, everything. And the thing I like about them is the obviously the staff is above and beyond what you would experience in most car places, but the one price, one place, where there's no haggling, no negotiations, that you can go in there and just look at exactly the price that you're going to get. Usually doesn't happen in the car business. I've been extremely satisfied with them. I've had friends, I've had cousins and family that have also bought cars from them. So, you know, my closest friends, closest families are going there, and obviously they wouldn't be going if they didn't feel the same way. So one price, one place. They're down on Skyland Boulevard, or check them out at tuscaloosatoyota.com.
Well, John Parker, we appreciate you for coming back on with us and finishing the conversation. It's always great to speak with you, and we truly look forward to hearing you in the booth in just a few short weeks. Was the Alabama Crimson Tide will be in Orlando, Florida, facing the Louisville Cardinals. Good luck to you. It's well-deserved, and we always enjoy catching up.
Thanks, guys. Roll Tide.